Welcome to yet another interesting episode of the Camnet Breakfast. I'm Patrick Soko, and today I'm joined by my colleague and co-host Miriam Kaimba. Welcome.
Morning, Patrick. How are you?
Fine. How are you?
I'm good. It's a lovely morning, I must say. It's
have you been with me before?
This is our second time that we're sharing the set, Patrick.
Good. I hope you know how we roll.
Exactly. I do that. Exactly, Patrick.
Yes. Yeah. Interesting stuff there. Today we'll be talking about our late fourth Republican President, RUPIAH BANDA. That's who is the one we have dedicated this show to, Miriam. This is because we want to remember him. We want our viewers to also add their voice regarding this subject, how they remember Mr. Banda. These and many other segments will be highlighted.
And I must also mention, Patrick, that we have a program, the State Funeral Program at Showground, where, you know, we'll have different foreign dignitaries and government officials coming just at the Showgrounds to pay their last respect in remembering our country's fourth Republican President, which is Mr. RUPIAH BANDA. And we will have some of our colleagues there who are going to be giving us a live update from there. We'll be able to get that. Yeah.
Just now, we just take our first segment we call Morning Booster so that we can get flexing our muscles, and we'll be back on the other side. Stay tuned to Camnet TV.
Good morning, Camnet viewers, and welcome to our quick morning show, quick morning workout, and you will be able to benefit from everything we're doing. So remember, the key thing is just for us to help you be fit, exercise, burn some fats in the body, stay fit, and so that your executive functions are on the peak. Okay, as usual, start with a warm-up. Let's go. Just a warm up. A warm up. Warm up. And marching. Hip, 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 hip. Invite everybody in the house. Let's do it together. Everyone is invited. We're going to throw some punches today. Let's go. Last one. All right. You're all welcome once again. Just in case you're getting out of your blankets, join us quick. Let's exercise together. All right, I promise that we're going to do some punches today. Okay, let's start. Two each now. One each. Two each. One each. Two each. One each. Low punch now. Go. Stay low. Watch my legs. Stay there. and up. Punch up. We're gonna mix them now. High punch and low punches. Ready? Let's go. Low punch. Up. Low punch. And matching. Okay. You did well with your punches. We're gonna do a knee high and a kick now. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2. Last one. 1, 2. Kick now. Let's go. 1, 2, and 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Back to knee. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Again. Knee high. Last knee. 1, 2. Kick now. If you feel your leg is heavy, let's do this. 1 and 2. Let's go, mama. 1, 2. 1, 2. High. Higher now. High. High. High now. Let's go. There you go. Kick. Can you hear me? Camnet team. Woo. Let's go. Let the blood flow. No more blood clot on your legs. Let's go. 1 and 2. And matching now. All right. Trust me, you did well with your punches and the knee highs and the kicks. Thank you so much. This is Isaac Matsa, your presenter. I'm going to see you next week again as we do our quick morning show. Make sure that you don't miss this breakfast show. Thank you, and I sign out.
Oh, I'm tired, Soko.
You were actually following. I saw you.
I was exercising as well. What are you doing?
I know I couldn't manage today.
It's very, very important that you exercise every day in the morning, just to keep your body, running for the day. You have the energy, It's very, very important.
Exactly.
I think last week I had a challenge, but this week I think I'm fit for the day. I did some, 1 or 2 exercise.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Health is important.
Yeah.
Talking about health, we are going to another interesting segment, the Health Corner, where we have doctors from the Medical Women Association of Zambia continue to give us important tips on health. And this time around we had Dr. Ikona, who is giving us an update regarding dialysis. We have to understand this concept, especially in the health sector. So we go straight into that segment.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Ikonga from University Teaching Hospital, Department of Internal Medicine. I'm also a member of the Medical Women's Association of Zambia. So on 10th March, we were celebrating World Kidney Day, and we discussed a number of issues pertaining to kidneys. So we've looked at the functions of the kidneys, We looked at what could harm the kidneys. We've looked at the two common diseases that affect the kidneys, which is the acute kidney disease and the chronic kidney disease. We've also looked at how to tell what are some of the symptoms of kidney failure. And so today we're going to look at dialysis as well as transplant of the kidneys. And so you may be wondering, what is dialysis? You just hear it from somewhere, dialysis this, dialysis that. What is dialysis? And even what is transplant? How does someone have a kidney transplant? Okay. When we look at chronic kidney disease, there are various stages, okay? That, it's a progressive loss of kidney function. And so there comes a point where the kidneys just pack up. They say, no, I can't do this anymore. And so the next step will be to offer what we call renal replacement therapy. And so this involves the kidney transplant, okay? So you may be wondering, how is it possible to survive with one kidney? Yes, it is. It's possible to survive with one kidney, because remember, for you to have presented with those symptoms, it means both kidneys had failed. If it was just one kidney that failed, you wouldn't have presented with those symptoms. So yes, it's possible to survive with one kidney, and that happens when you have a kidney transplant. Do we do it in Zambia? Yes, we've done it before in Zambia. That was, I think, 2018 or 2019. And right now they are doing very well, okay? They are living a normal lifestyle, okay? They are like us. They are now in society. They're doing very well. No major issues. The other item I would like to discuss is on dialysis. And so we offer dialysis as we are waiting for kidney transplant. And so there are different modalities of dialysis. There's one that we call hemodialysis, where we connect you to a machine, and this machine is going to mimic the functions of the kidney. And so it involves cleaning the blood and whatnot. Remember, the function of the kidney is to clear up the waste products. And so this machine is going to act like the kidney to help in clearing up the waste products. The other type of dialysis is what we call peritoneal dialysis. And so this is where fluids are put in the abdomen, and an exchange is done in the fluids in the abdomen as well as the blood, and exchange is done. The beauty with peritoneal dialysis is that you can even do it yourself at home. You can, and it's important, it's good for those who live a busy lifestyle. You've got a very busy schedule, so it's better we offer peritoneal dialysis, because you can do it at home in your own time. For hemodialysis, it requires you to come to a dialysis center. There are a few dialysis centers in Zambia, but UTH is one of them. So it requires you to come to the hospital about 3 times a week, so that we do that process for you for washing the toxins in the blood and whatnot. So dialysis is also offered to patients who have an acute kidney injury. Remember, I mentioned this happens when there's an injury to the kidneys, and it's reversible. But there's a time that the impact is too much, and so we offer dialysis so that we quickly wash away those toxins as we are waiting for the kidneys to recover. But for those who have slipped into chronic kidney disease, which is irreversible, and we start the dialysis process, it's usually lifelong. So these are some of the common questions which are asked when it comes to transplant, as well as if it comes to dialysis.
Thank you. There you have it. That's an interesting segment there on the Health Corner, where the Medical Women Association of Zambia continues to bring us important tips in as far as health is concerned. Talking about dialysis, Kaemba. That's quite a process, and
quite a process.
yeah, with
exactly.
this feeling of kidney failure. And It's a lifelong process.
And you know, it's a lot of people do not understand exactly what affect the symptoms of kidney failure and stuff like that. So it's very, very important that we had this segment, so that I'm sure our viewers did learn one or two things.
Exactly.
With regards to this topic as well.
Yeah, interesting. Just now we are going to go into another segment we call a sports update, where we want to just try to understand some of the trending issues in the sports fraternity. And we had the games as follows. We're just going to wrap up with the Champions League, where we saw teams that we are playing, especially this week. We had, okay, first of all, teams that have progressed. We had Bayern Munich. We also had Manchester City. They played a game against Sporting, and this game ended 0-0, but Man City progressed to the next round because they had a 5-0 advantage. Liverpool progressed after they managed to beat Inter Milan on aggregate 2-1. That was. We also had an interesting encounter that was up between Real Madrid and Paris Saint-Germain, where we saw Real Madrid winning on aggregate by 3-2. They won the last encounter that was played at the Bernabeu, where Madrid scored all the 3 goals at their home ground there to manage to progress to the next round. And Karim Benzema was the hat-trick hero there. And it was actually a shocking event, especially in the football fraternity, considering that PSG have been putting up a good show in terms of performance as a club, and they have yet again failed to leap a medal in the Champions League, because that's one of their targets as PSG. We also had interesting encounters this week, where we saw Manchester United playing against Atletico Madrid on aggregate. Atletico Madrid won by 2-1, and they managed to progress to the next level. They are sad development for Manchester United. This team has never ceased to amaze me when it comes to disappointing. I'm just wondering the headache Manchester fans should be having. This is a team that has a huge fan base and followers, especially in Zambia. And if you look at the likes of some of the people we have here at Camnet, the likes of Amos Lungu, Elijah Chifita, they are busy comforting themselves with this defeat. And time and again, they just
I can imagine how Amos is feeling right now.
You see? Exactly. And we had also Ajax up against Benfica there. The match that was played on aggregate at 3-2 there. And if you look at the games that have been played, well, that has been an interesting encounter. But they're saying that the team to avoid is Chelsea, because they are playing a good, having a good season.
And you know, someone told me, Mimi, you know what, you should move from Barcelona and start supporting Chelsea. I said, okay, I'll try to think about it anyway.
Don't think about it, just come to Real Madrid.
Oh, okay.
Yes, don't have to think about Chelsea. These are teams that can shine for some time, but they'll be back in their disappointing mood, just like Manchester.
Okay.
But just now, we're going to make sure we get you updated regarding what is happening in as far as the currency is concerned in money market, so that we understand how our kwacha is performing against other convertibles. Miriam there.
Okay, so we have the United States dollar, the kwacha buying at 17 kwacha 56 ngwe, and selling at 17 kwacha 89 ngwe against the United States dollar. And then against the British pound, we have it at 22 kwacha, selling at 22 kwacha 97 ngwe, that is buying, and selling at 23 kwacha 41 ngwe, that is selling. And then we have the euro that is buying at 18 kwacha 89 ngwe, and selling at 19 kwacha 26 ngwe. And then we have the South African rand that is buying at 1 kwacha 17 ngwe and selling at 1/4 19 ngwe, and those that's our money market for this morning.
Interesting. Yeah, our kwacha has been in that range for a while now. We just hope it continues to remain stable to avoid further depreciation, because that is not good for the economy.
It's affecting a lot of things, and looking at our current status as a country, you know, the cost of living has gone up.
Yes.
So these are issues that keep on affecting us each and every single day, and we hope for the best. Like I always say when we come on this show, we hope for the best.
Exactly.
And we hope that the promises that the new administration has given to the people of Zambia will be able to see those in due time. Yeah. Interesting.
So just now, before we get to our next segment, we call Zoom in the Headlines, where we're going to be highlighting a number of issues and stories pertaining to the state funeral of RUPIAH BANDA. We will also start by this dedication that is coming from the preachers, and the song is entitled Abasumabaya. We're just going straight into that song. We'll be back on the other side with a Zoom in the Headlines. Stay tuned to Camnet TV.
Maendelo lwendo lwenu tata Kavieni mtushe kumabukwe yakwe Mahombele chalo chesu na maka yose Kavieni mlikale kumabukwe yakwe Nelo mwashe chipunda Mwashe chikoko Mwashe chalo chiledila Imwe mwashe misoa Mwashe okulila Mwashe Zambia iledila Kavieni mutuse Imwe mwashe chipunda Mwashe chikoko Mwashe chalo chiledila Ichalo chesu chiledila Mwashe chipunde Mwashe chikoko Mwashe chalo chiledila
Matola njila yosawelela kumbuyo Injila yubabisha motema wangu Nuona monga sote munga welele Tikaseki kumwetezo sekela Nuona monga sote munga welele Tukaweshi kuma siku ya kudala Nukuye wani leo Nakuye wani leo
Wechano wamipa Masendela watemwikwa na kwete ine We mushiri Wenalenya tapochi na mushiri Lelo wantambalalika ine Wefwa walilipa Deimu kishaba mwana wasa Banakila kumushiri waya Batata bachiluwa Banakila kumushiri waya Kempalume basata Banakila kumushiri waya Batata bakaunda Banakila kumushiri waya Tatane mwe RUPIAH Banakila kumushiri waya Yesu wa Yesu shireni kwa baba shere etungulu shitu shere na sho balipya babiri ba Yesu bakatika ba echi na batata balungu balelila yakwaba sumama yae banakira kumushiri ba yae yakwaba sumama yae batata balupia moya yae yakwaba sumama yae ubulanda tukwete mutalo Yesu yakwaba sumama yae yakwaba sumama yae yakwaba sumama yae kabiyeri mutuse mutiwe washe chipunda washe chipunda washe chalo chile tukalami mukisha kwa kisumba mwati iwe washe chipunda washe chipunda chalo chile lila
A beautiful song indeed from the preachers dedicated to our fourth Republican President, RUPIAH BANDA, who passed on last week, Friday, and to other head of state that have left us. Soko, I must say that it's a sad time for us as a country. So far, Zambia has lost about 5 presidents. 2 were sitting in president. You know, this is a sad reality, but above all, we celebrate their life. You know, they did a lot. They contributed to the country's growth. You know, they did so much for Zambia. Yeah.
Yeah, there you have it. You are right there. We have all the former heads of state have died. The only remaining one is President Edgar Lungu, former president, who saved us under the PF. We had our FJT Frederick Chiruba. We had our very own Levi Mwanawasa,
who died when he was still president. Then we had Sata, who also died when he was still sitting. He was still sitting in president. And then we had our very own father, who Dr. Kaunda. Yeah, we celebrate his life. He did live his life. Yeah.
Just now we are going to go into a tribute to RUPIAH BANDA, where we recall some of the fresh memories in terms of how was the man coming out, especially on national matters. What was his perspective? What was his point of view? So we are going to play a clip just depicting Mr. Banda and his style of how he used to do things, just to remember him and to reflect. You, our dear viewers there, in case you're just joining us, you are watching the Camnet Breakfast, and we have just dedicated the show to the late RUPIAH BANDA, because this is the time when we are having the state funeral today, and those proceedings will be brought to you on Camnet TV as well as on our Facebook platforms, so that you can follow the proceedings. And just today, to kickstart the day, we are trying to make sure that even you, our dear viewers, in case there's something you want to share about the late RUPIAH BANDA, you can equally just call us or send us a text message on our social media platforms, so that we can get interacting in that format. Just now we go straight into that clip reminding us of who is RB and how we came out on various issues.
The opposition are against you need to deal. I shouldn't do. That's the one I'm sending to Mr. Swat. We will accept the result. We are a democratic party, and we know no other way. It is not for us to deny the Zambian people. We never rigged, we never cheated, we never knowingly abused state funds. We simply did what we thought was best for Zambia. I hope the next government will act likewise in years to come.
Especially in view of my experience with having stood for an election as an incumbent president and lost and conceded. I felt that I contributed something to my country. If I had not done that at that time, most probably the situation would be different now in our country. So it's worth emulating. I know people call me all kinds of names, but I think that I did the right thing. If you want to avoid what happened in 2008, emulate me and accept the verdict of the people. We are not in this just for our personal glory that, you know, this and that. No, we're in this for the people. And if the people are not happy, it doesn't matter what you think. You fail. It's as simple as that. Unfortunately, I speak up. The people, we are not happy. So why don't we sit down and think about it together without, taking it personally? We can't even ask ourselves, what should we do better? If you ask that question, no, you're against me. I can't be. Nobody's against anybody. We're all brothers and sisters. We're all Zambians. We all want what is the best for us.
Historically, since we gained independence in 1964, we have lived as one people. We fought the colonial masters together. We never looked at one's tribe, race, gender, or religion. We were united so that we could live in harmony as brothers and sisters and enjoy the fruits of our land as one people. Since the reintroduction of multi-party politics in Zambia in 1990, we have held several peaceful and democratic elections. As a country, we can be proud of the manner in which we resolve electoral disputes. Aggrieved parties use the judiciary to challenge electoral outcomes that they are displeased with. We should continue with this good tradition. During my tenure as president, I emphasized the importance of contesting parties to respect the will of the people. I wish to remind the contestants in this year's elections that every election has winners and losers. Any attempt by any entity acting alone or in concert with others to impose a leadership outside the concept of one man, one vote will be an assault on the sacrifices of our founding fathers and will imperil the sovereignty and independence of the country and also jeopardize the peace and unity of this generation and those to come. We have chosen for ourselves a system that gives legitimacy to those in government through the ballot box. Thank you to my brothers, the other 4 presidents, for taking time to come here and for giving my wife and myself and the rest of my family the honor of receiving them at this particular time. I'm sure you will agree that we don't need to make a speech about what we discussed.
No.
The atmosphere that you see, the atmosphere that you see speaks for itself. Yeah. And I think that is better than if we write something and this and that, because that can be discarded. But it is, you can see for yourselves. And thanks that this honor has been given to us to receive you in our home. I hope we'll continue to be seeing you more often, whenever. The president here
is going to be more free now to come and visit me and vice versa. But the ones who have come from outside, it really touches us as Zambians, all of us. Sure, the journalists agree that it's so wonderful to see brothers from other countries showing their concern for our welfare and our unity and our future. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. President.
Oh, there you have it. Quite an interesting and emotional video.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
has
must
been
say.
produced by Bruno Marungu.
But we had some, you know, some funny moments that our late president did have during the time he served as the country's fourth Republican president, you know. So, yeah, as we are remembering him, you know, we look at both those light moments he had with people, you know, yeah. So, it's a touching, you know, touching thing, but at the end of it all, we need to celebrate his life because there's a lot he did for this country, Mother Zambia, in terms of...
I'm not short of expectations that the sitting president, Hakainde Hichilema, has really grasped the concept of Mr. Banda.
Yeah.
Equally, the former president, Mr. Edgar Lungu. I think both of them, the way Mr. Banda explained that we had to engage, and us being together at the moment is a testimony of the relationship that exists amongst us. You know, it mediated an important process because, you know, in Africa, one of the biggest challenges that has been there is that some leaders always want to clinch into power. You lose an election, but you want to say, no, it is not fair, and I want to, I want the result to be recounted. In the process of recounting, they just say, no, we have to just hold fresh elections. Well, fresh elections are being planned. You see the military taking over. You see there's that kind of intimidation of citizens. You see people protesting and losing lives. Several countries at the moment, Miriam,
especially African countries, you know. We
have countries that are in this situation at the moment, and because of failure to tolerate one another and failure to concede defeat, failure to hold credible elections, have led to conflicts in nations, and that is something that we need to always avoid as Africans. We've seen such unfolding events, Miriam, which is very, very sad. But we see Zambia upholding that legacy, which no country can take away from. No, especially when it comes to maintaining peace. Yes. If you recall, this peaceful transition has always occurred in this nation because our presidents have always demonstrated that they have to put the nation before self-interest. Yeah. So that is something that we always have to emulate, even you, Miriam. Just because, Miriam, you lose a competition when you go for that those athletics, it doesn't mean you have to hate the next person. Exactly. You know, and I was impressed with one comment that was made during some of the interviews we were conducting during the state funeral, as people were paying tribute to the late RB. We had an engagement, should be with Mr. Shamenda, who said Mr. Banda played it as a sportsman in politics, where in sports you lose, you forgo the trophy. Then the next person takes over the trophy, and if they are doing fine, they continue with the trophy. But if just like the AFCON, Miriam, exactly, you see, we had it, we were celebrating. Before we could celebrate even more, the African celebration came later than we anticipated. It was in the hands of another country. Yeah. We also had Cameroon, we also had Senegal getting it for the first time. it is their turn to celebrate, and when it is time to grab it from them, they won't say no, this is our trophy.
Cannot give you. Exactly.
That's the kind of politics RB plays.
Yeah.
Where you say, okay, you've decided that you want the PF in office. Okay, give them a chance to run.
Yeah, we also did see the time he left office when he was defeated by the late President Michael Sata, who was the PF, who was coming from the PF. We saw the smooth transition of power. He let go of the power. There was peace. So, and we also saw how he mediated between the current administration and the PF. The time there was a transition of power from the PF now to the UPND administration. That was one of the important role he played as well.
It stands out as one of the former heads of state, Miriam, who only attended the inauguration of his counterpart.
Yeah.
He did that.
He did that. And I wish we could have had that video. Anyway, we'll try to, organize it and play.
So ECL handing over the instruments of power to HH.
Yeah.
So it's politically we have a rich political history.
Yes, we do. We do have.
Of how we hold our general elections. And how we make sure that we have smooth transition of power. Just now we're going to also zoom in one of the interesting stories about the labor movement, in particular, Morning RB, as well as the clip that is coming from the Morning House, where we also interacted with
various officials.
Yes, we had Botswana President Ian Khama. Yes, he also paid tribute to RB, where he described him as a son of Africa, someone who worked for beyond Zambia, but in the continent.
Yeah.
And if you are to go an extra mile across the globe, he contributed quite a milestone. So we just go into that story for the labor movement, and as well as other political players that were also adding their views regarding Mr. Banda. Stay tuned. Many people have continued to pay tribute to the late RUPIAH Banda. Wednesday, 16th March 2022, among the many people was the labor movement, including Zambia Congress of Trade Union, ZCTU President Nkole Chishimba, who described Mr. Banda as a peaceful man. We also spoke to former ZCTU President and National Democratic Congress Vice President Leonard Ikaumba, who has described Mr. Banda as a man who promoted dialogue.
Other countries worldwide lost many workers. They had to lay off workers because of the world economic crisis. But because of his strategy and approach of consultation, he got suggestions from the employers, suggestions from the workers, and that's how we averted mass job losses during the world economic crisis. It wasn't an easy period, but we pulled through because the administration was ready to listen to suggestions that were coming from the stakeholders.
Another former ZCTU president and former labor minister, Faxton Shamenda, pointed out that the media and citizens in general have a huge responsibility to ensure that the country does not go off track under the United Party for National Development in terms of development and upholding good governance.
Because as somebody said, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. But before you start enjoying those trappings of power, it is important that those who are in leadership are reminded. Let's continue reminding those who have gotten into power now, so that the freedom which ZNBC is enjoying at the moment, it should not be temporary. And it is very easy, they can lose it as people get into power, not necessarily at the top, but the other followers who would like to say, cover those who are in leadership better than those who are not who are the newsmakers. People usually say that. So it is important that I think there is a lot of hope.
Played a very big role in terms of making sure that there was a peaceful transition from the PF to the UPND-led government. That's one of the examples that you can pick from in terms of the asset that he was to the nation.
Opposition Patriotic Front Acting President Given Lubinda was among the visitors to the funeral house and signed the book of condolences. Mr. Lubinda also spoke to the press to highlight how he remembers the late RUPIAH BANDA.
He did not at any one time show that he had people who had pursued him, that he had people with whom he had differences. He still continued to exhibit love to all Zambians. This is the reason why he shall remain in the annals of the history of Zambia as being the first person to lose presidential elections and to go and attend the inauguration of his successor. You will recall that before that, KK did not attend, but he went and attended the inauguration of President Michael Chilufya-Sata.
Thursday, 17th March 2022 is the day for the state funeral, and a number of head of states are expected to be in attendance. And Friday, 18th March 2022 is the day when Mr. Banda will be put to rest at the National Presidential Site. Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
To the late fourth Republican President RUPIAH BANDA have continued to be poured out from all sectors of the world. With only a day before the former head of state can be put to his final resting place, various leaders from across the world have started arriving in the country to pay their last tribute to the fallen hero. Former Botswana President Ian Serensi Khama, who arrived in the country Wednesday afternoon, visited Belvedere Lodge in Lusaka, where he took time to comfort the family of the late Mr. Banda, who he says his death has come as a shock to the world.
Very joyous occasion for myself to be able to see him again, even though he was a bit frail, but certainly in our conversation it seemed to me that he was still going to be with us for some time after the interventions by the various medical practitioners. So it came as a deep shock, very deep shock.
Coming there, therefore, is a reminder of the strong ties that lie between ourselves as a people and our brothers and sisters from Botswana. Thank you for your presence here.
Mr. Khama, who also spoke shortly after writing in the book of condolences, says Mr. Banda was his friend who they shared cordial relations with.
So the kind of compassion and caring that he had is something that is important for leaders to know, that you put people first. And that's something that I remembered him by, because whenever we had the conversations, it was constantly about the people of Zambia and of course the people in our region.
And traditional leaders in the country also took time to visit the funeral gathering place and have encouraged other leaders in the country to emulate the life of Mr. Banda, who they say was down to earth.
Lessons that we can learn from his life is that you don't necessarily have to put yourself first. Let you be a down-to-earth person who is going to be embraced by everyone, and it's the people that should appreciate what you are doing for them. And this is how we remember him, because he was a selfless person.
The body of the late Mr. Banda is Thursday, 17th January 2022, is expected to be viewed at the Lusaka Showgrounds, where international dignitaries, government officials, and other stakeholders are expected to gather and pay their last respect. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
There you have it. Those were some of the things that were happening at the mourning place, where different government officials, chiefs attended the funeral house just to, pay the last respect to the former head of state and just to see the family. And in case you're joining us, this is the Camnet TV morning breakfast, where we are remembering our fourth Republican president, RUPIAH Banda, who passed on last week, Friday. Soko.
Well, yeah, quite interesting views that are coming from there at the Belvedere House, which is where the state funeral is being hosted from. Yeah. So we had a number of stakeholders commenting on Mr. Banda, and Well, you can only take out the positives on the man because he was a positive person, and that he never held grudges.
Yeah.
He made sure that peace had to reign all the time, and that's a kind of a leader young people have to always emulate, such as Miriam Kaimba there, making sure that you are not that hooligan youth there.
Exactly, Patrick Soko.
Put this nation on fire.
But
you have to make sure you live your life like people, like Mr. Banda.
Who
made sure that peace prevails all the time.
And we also saw, we saw a clip from the opposition, who is the opposition acting president, Mr. Given Luminda, who was saying, appreciating Mr. Banda of what he contributed to this nation. Yeah. So it's, as we are mourning, we still have to celebrate his life.
Yes, we just can't help it but celebrate his life.
We can't help it,
because
there's a lot of things.
And I think with the documentation we have in terms of what he said, the audio recordings all over social media platforms such as YouTube, you can access. You'll be able to learn one or two things. Even though he's gone, you're still able to grasp the concepts of what Mr. Banda, how Mr. Banda was like in terms of as a statesman.
As a statesman.
Basically, it's an interesting lesson we continue to learn from him. And you too, in case you want to share with us your perspective, you can call in and give us your views regarding how you remember Mr. Banda there. We will be ready to take in your comment and contribution to the program, so that we can get the conversation going in as far as this morning period is concerned.
I'm looking forward, to people calling in. I want to get the views of people on how they are remembering the country's fourth Republican president, Mr. RUPIAH Banda. I would like to hear different views from people. Exactly, Patrick Soko would want to know what people think as we are mourning and celebrating his life. What do you think? So give us a call and what you think. Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you, beloved. How are you this morning?
We are fine. How are you?
Yes, this is
Reverend Manjuri, you can go ahead with your contribution, sir. How do you remember Mr. Banda?
Yes, thank you so very much. While I share the thoughts of our remember the next president, our first Republican president, permit me to start first of all by saying something that is important. Also, even as we remember the life of the fallen president. You see, one of the things that I think in my personal view, and this is based on what I've tried to look through in terms of how we've done our archiving of the history concerning leaders such as President Banda and that generation, because these are the generation of the freedom fighters that brought about the liberation of our country. So the history of documentation of the history is very critical and very important. But if we ignore people or nations that are ignored, it is history that informs us of the present and also gives us direction of the future. So I think that in terms of documentation of the accomplishments, I think it's totality. Because looking on your feet, what is being brought out, I think mostly has to do with, I think, his ascendancy to the president. And maybe a little bit about, those days and time, most of it is in quick upon. And we don't have it in particular form. So I think mind. But however, I think like Mr. was saying, is a man that, has this readiness with him, and I think he never appeared to things to his heart when he has differences with his competitors. I think that for me the biggest state that I remember him for, because most of these politicians, you see this bad blood, where, even when maybe they are no longer having the position of being in this political party. You see that it's not just this relationship and interaction. And for most of them, they are at that stage when they are supposed to be leading such a legacy. And for me, I think that is the biggest stake for him, because I see that I think with President Carter, they had issues that, they related, even in the aftermath of his presidency, they related. And I think for most of the people that they know that the issues, I think even with President Mumba, president of the MND, I think you remember at one time he attempted to come back and do some tests. He should have been the 2016 election, if I'm not mistaken. And there was that risk. But I think that with the passage of time, there was a thing, the balance of those issues and started moving forward. So that is, I think, the biggest for me, because it speaks of the community of one heart. How that, you're able to overlook the differences and embrace each other as, a nation and as one people. Yeah, so that would be my contribution.
Thank you so
very
much,
Reverend Manduri.
Quite an interesting contribution, I must say, Soko.
Mm-hmm.
He talked about proper documentation so that young people are able to appreciate. He talked about, these politicians coming together, putting aside their differences. When you leave office, put aside your differences. Let us work together so that we maintain and we leave a good legacy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
yeah, that is true. What Reverend Manduri said. Your children and my children, Miriam, they won't be able to appreciate who was RUPIAH Banda.
Who was RUPIAH
if
Banda?
we don't do proper documentation.
Exactly.
Even in our school books, in our history books, it is also about time with our history books reflect our real history as Africa, as Zambia, as opposed to telling us about things that may not even matter at the end of the day. So these are things that we need to document so that we make sure that when we're teaching our children to appreciate people who would have governed this country before, and what was their legacy, and what was their contribution to the nation. How critical was it? So that is the only way we can be able to make progress as a country in terms of sharing knowledge from generation to generation. If we're not going to do proper documentation, at the end of the day,
it becomes hard.
It becomes hard, and
Very
people will
hard.
not even appreciate
to
the extent to watch. Because we also, when we talk about documentation, it goes in tandem with the aspect of promoting a proper reading culture. So when people are able to read and understand these issues, they'll be able to relate and be able to somehow grasp the concepts and be able to emulate some of these foreign heroes who have contributed greatly to the democracy which Zambia is enjoying at the moment.
We don't want to see a situation where, a child is born today, 5 years, 10 years from now, you tell them about RUPIAH Banda, they have no knowledge. We need to have proper documentation so that as children, when we have a new generation, people are able to appreciate some of the works that these people contributed to Mother Zambia. This is something that, when someone does something, Soko, you just need something nice. You just need to appreciate, document it, so that, even as generation to come, we'll be able to, look through and see, okay, this is where we're coming from, this is how we're moving as a nation. Exactly, very important, I must say.
Yeah, you too can call us in the studio to share your perspective regarding how you remember the late RUPIAH Banda as a citizen.
But
of
Soko,
this country.
that reminds me of something. I should have poured powder on you. Yeah.
But I don't remember ever seeing you. Remember you being Bemba last time I checked.
Oh, really? I'm Ushi here. I fall into the Bemba land, so I should have poured you powder. You should have come on set with powder. Yeah.
Well, like I am.
You should have come on set with powder. You should have come on set with powder, Soko. I should have done that. I should have done that on you.
I was going to pay you so that you don't. There is a way to avoid the powder.
I saw there was in Parliament yesterday. We saw
two ghosts.
Petauke MP, and then we had Munali MP, Mike Bosch, and JJ Banda from Petauke, who raised the point of order and asked the speaker if it was in order for them to be poured powder without being paid, you know. So
quite interesting.
Quite interesting. But anyway, at the state funeral, this is something that. Anyway, we expect to see this morning.
The members are calling the shot this time around.
As the day goes.
Yeah, so you have to be always on a high alert. There is a pouring baby powder squad, the way I call it.
Okay.
Just as you are entering the funeral house where actually the book of condolences is, there is a group of women there. So if you are coming from the east, I'm going to give you a tip. Make sure you avoid that group or identify one of them and make sure you negotiate or you pay. Otherwise you'll be ghosts like Mike Mposha and Emmanuel Banda were in Parliament yesterday.
And you know, there was a trending picture of the Matero MP Mouse Sampa, who actually went to one of the supermalls and bought paint. You know, he took a picture with paint and said, this is what is going to on his victims. Anyway, I hope they don't bump into him and then.
But he was the one who called the shots at Parliament. He was the one. He was the one. So he said it. That was just the round one. I can only.
Okay, we have a caller. So, hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. You are through to Camnet TV.
Yes, good morning.
Yes, may we have your name and where you're calling us from?
Yes, my name is Jeffrey Noah Kata, calling you from Kachue.
All right, Mr. Kata, you can go ahead with your contribution.
Yeah, thank you. I would like to remember President RUPIAH BANDA for his magnanimity when it came to issues of handing over power and also how we handled the recent periods that the country, other countries went through. Uganda, I remember, the time in 2008 to about 2011, it was a crucial time for other countries where they had faced a lot of economic challenges. But with RP, I think he and his team did a good job for Mother Zambia. And also for the transition that facilitated in the Zambian election. I think that is something that we have to remember. And also in terms of humor and the fact that he tried to do his best. And I can remember kind of the funeral also of President Chiloba in 2011 and also President Manawasa. I think he was having 6 days in time of rain, but we thank God because the time God gave him the grace. And to the most Marazambia, it will not be possible to want him and to give him a fight send-off. We want to these things which these several presidents of God are trying to do for him and call that one more. Now they can do better. Thank you so much.
Well, interesting. That's Mr. Nkata giving us his perspective on how he remembers Mr. Banda. You too can add your voice as we remember our father, Mr. Banda. Well, Miriam, how do you remember RP?
Well, I remember him as, you know, a great man who contributed greatly to this country's economy in terms of when you look at trade, when you look at the currency, the kwacha, you know, it was performing very good. He really made sure that, you know, Zambia reached toward at that point where, you know, we become a middle income country. So anyway, I wouldn't want to say much beyond than this. We're still mourning Patrick Soko.
And for me, how I remember Mr. Banda is that I was just young when I was going, I think it was he was the leader.
Yeah.
And when he was losing power, that's when I was actually getting into the journalism industry.
But when during the transition of power, I think I should have been somewhere in grade. I was still in my secondary school anyway during that time. But anyway, I do remember how the Kwacha was performing. I do remember how things were in the country, you know. Yeah.
Yes. So if you look at Mr. Banda, for me, one thing more people would thank him for was the cheap electricity, because he had reduced the connection fee drastically, and low-income earners or low-income households were able to connect to the national grid. Then that was a milestone. We understand there might have been political decisions being made, but I can tell you that
that was
connecting to the national grid was never an easy thing. And that saved a lot of people, and people are now enjoying.
And during that time, you know, it was it was a hard thing, Soko. So that was one of the achievements, I must say, that he did. He did in terms of contributing to the development of this country. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, in case you just also want to add your voice, you can call us in the studios. We'll be able to interact with you. You can interact with other viewers as well via the number that is scrolling on your screens. You'll be able to be in touch with us on a Camnet. Remember, the Camnet breakfast on a Thursday, we do policy and governance, and today we have dedicated the show to Mr. Banda, just to remember him as the country holds the state funeral, which is being hosted at the showgrounds in Lusaka. Various dignitaries are expected to be in attendance. Various former heads of states are representing heads of states of various nations, especially in the SADC region. We also have those who will be represented by their sitting ministers during these funerals. This is according to the statement that was issued by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs as of last evening. So we are expecting a number of visitors for this state funeral.
The church, we have political parties, different political parties will be coming forward, foreign dignitaries, senior government officials, former head of states, and you know, just different people coming, and the ordinary citizens, I'm sure those who want to attend will find their way at the showgrounds just to pay their last respect to our fourth Republican President, RUPIAH Banda. Soko, our last caller, you know, after giving us his view on how he remembers the late president, he was complaining at the end of the day about the pouring of powder. So I'm just doing the justice on you after the show.
I'm pretty sure I won't find any powder there, because I've already paid people within this vicinity.
We shall buy powder, so we shall buy powder, and we shall use even paint to pour.
I remember, we're talking about the powder. I also talked to the victims of this incident. They told me that when you're pouring powder, you have to also have courtesy. Have you bought a chicken? We need a chicken. Unless you tell us that you are forgoing your lunch today. but those are critical matters.
Yeah.
Yes. Have you bought the chicken?
And we'll talk about the chicken later on.
Yes,
after I pour the powder.
This conversation, I'm talking about the chicken because I want to make sure that I deter you. It's a deterrent measure that we are undertaking. So at the moment, for me, I can confirm that I'm from the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Okay.
Yes.
So is that one way of you running away from us, pouring powder on you?
But I've just been honest.
No, Soko. We shall not buy that story. We shall not buy that story. But and you know, we did see a statement from the police spokesperson, Ray Amonga, just saying, you know, there's these things going on. So make sure as you pour powder on this, you maintain peace and order so that there's no lawlessness, and then at the end of the day we hear, you know, some commotion.
There was one Tonga man who was fluent in Bemba. He's been trending on social media. And he was speaking Bemba in front of the baby powder police squad. So
and they did justice.
So the squad pounced on him, and he was annoyed. I can confirm me, and he was very annoyed. He was very annoyed because he said, "How can you be because I speak a bit of Bemba, you want to mistake me for a Bemba? Instead of you asking me, and you're busy." Yeah, but at the end of the day, I think this funeral, Miriam, has also given us another aspect of culture. It was the same when the late Michael Sata died. The members were in trouble.
Yeah.
When, you know, this tribal chasm between the people of Eastern Province and the people of Northern Province, is stems from way back historically. So it is a tradition or a custom that has been upheld in terms of justice to mourn, and it is also an indicator that much as we mourn, we have to also light up the burden. We don't have to be filled with grief, because at the end of the day, it may hinder our ability to cope with life.
Exactly.
So we have to also mix that with a bit of light moments, and that's one of the light moments that lightens up the burden amongst the mourners. To understand that they're actually your relatives who are actually mourning with you this time around, and that's the way it is. It's not that it's a funny thing, or it's something that has come earlier. It's a tradition. It's a tradition.
Yeah.
So this funeral, Miriam, has gone across various aspects. It has gone beyond political divide, cultural aspects. If you see the cultural component taking part. You see the Christian principles playing their part. You know, it's about unity in diversity. That's what this funeral has brought to us as a country, because regardless of our backgrounds and our backgrounds, we put our differences aside and respect one's religion, respect one's culture, and be able to mourn our foreign hero in one accord in terms of upholding peace and unity. So far, we have observed that at the funeral house at the Belvedere Lodge, where the state funeral is being hosted, it has been a peaceful atmosphere, and people are coming in and out to just sign the book of condolences, as well as interact with and comfort the mourners there. The former First Lady Tandiwe Banda and the family spokesperson Fisho Mware also spoke to us last time we were there, that they are happy that the proceedings have been going on well, and that things have been according and well managed by the state. Well, people who are mourning there, there's food. This food has been provided. There's shelter. You know, this is the rainy season.
The state have put everything under control.
Everything has been under control, and there's no confusion. The men in uniform are also doing their part in terms of upholding security there. But there's no agitation, Miriam, like tension of let's say confrontations, all such of maneuvers, Miriam.
And you know, that's something that we don't want to see. You know,
yes.
This is the time that we are mourning our fourth Republican president, and despite us mourning, we are also celebrating his life. So we would want to make sure that we maintain the peace. As we mourn.
Yeah, when we talk about also political parties, all leaders of political parties, most of them and those we have interacted with have been able to come in and go, and we saw also from the political fraternity, the UPND choir, the MDC choir, the MMD choir, the PF choir. All these choirs are coexisting at one place. So it tells us that we need to differ politically based on principles as a country. Okay, on the ideology you differ, but when it comes to fostering national development, we have to be one.
We have to be one. Exactly.
We can politic on the other side, but when it comes to other matters,
we need to
coexist
and
be able to function normally. But those days, or in the past, we used to see a tendency where, when I do not agree with you, Miriam, because I'm belonging to party A. Just because you support party B, you want to crucify me.
Exactly.
But why do that? Because at the end of the day, we may be coming from the same house, we just have a different ideas. Do you cease to be my relative because I'm supporting a different political party? So those are things I think this film is reminding us of, that regardless of
which political party we are coming from, so we belong to, we should maintain our peace. Yeah, we're all Zambian.
We belong to one tribe called Zambia. And at the end of the day, we have to ensure that the Zambianization concept is achieved by ensuring that we are united as one, as citizens. Well, Miriam, after we have talked about these stories pertaining to the funeral, we also had some interesting stories in the news as of yesterday.
Okay.
2 interesting clips, Miriam. But we'll start with one that was on Mr. Chipenzi and other stakeholders who were commenting on the 30 PF members of parliament who were suspended. And they're saying that the speaker was actually lenient because they needed to be jailed for 6 months. Well, we just go straight into that clip so that we can just get the sentiments of stakeholders as they react to the suspension of 30 members of parliament from the National Assembly. Stay tuned to Camnet TV.
The suspension of 30 Patriotic Front PF members of parliament on Tuesday by Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly attracted Sangano has brought a lot of debate on the political arena. The 30 MPs were on Tuesday suspended for an act they did in 2021 after they thronged the chamber of the Speaker of the National Assembly in protest when the Deputy Speaker of the House continued the debate on State House despite an objection from the Leader of Opposition in Parliament, Brian Undubile.
You shall not participate in an activity of the Assembly or any committee that you are assigned in your capacity as Member of Parliament. You shall not be paid the salary or allowances that you are entitled to as a member. I now order you, suspended PF members of Parliament, to immediately leave the proceedings of the House on 30 days suspension.
In debating the matter, Governance Elections Advocacy Research Services GEAR's Executive Director McDonald Chipenzi says that the act is fully backed by the law. Mr. Chipenzi said had the Deputy Speaker opted to take full disciplinary action against the MPs, they would have saved a jail sentence.
When you look at the charge that has been given to the 30 MPs, is derived from Section 19 of the Parliamentary Powers and Privileges Act. Okay? And that section, and 28, it clearly states that one who is being found guilty of such an offense of obstruction is liable to a fine and also or to both imprisonment. And the imprisonment is 6 months.
Operation Young Vote Executive Director Mr. Gesni Renda, however, feels the state provision should be amended in the spirit of upholding democracy.
It just brings about issues of suspicion, issues of not being one as a people, and so on and so forth. But the representation of the people that voted for those particular members of parliament, for us is what is even more critical. People are denied of representation.
A political scientist, Mr. Musiani Sichone, has also expressed his views.
So it kind of stifles democracy. You see that the majority party, which is the ruling party, is the only party that remains in the House, because PF has about 60, and then there were 9 that were suspended, and then there are also 30 now that have been suspended. And now the issue is that how many representatives of the opposition are remaining, how many constituencies. So we shouldn't look at it from a party perspective. We need to look at it from a perspective of the democratic process.
A clergyman, Reverend Solomon Bulo, has also spoken out.
Commenting on the 30 suspended MPs, from the clergy point of view, I would say that the parliament has got rules, and the speaker has given powers by the Constitution of Zambia. What happened was very regrettable, and my only
appeal to the Zambians, especially that were in the state of mourning, is to us to behave within the confines of the laws.
The affected MPs have vowed to pursue the matter using legal avenues. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Well, there you have it, divergent views emerging from that story where members of parliament were suspended, the 30 MPs from the PF.
This is one of the trending stories that we had this week. Despite, you know, the country being in a state of mourning, this is one of...
Life goes on.
Yeah, the trending story that we had 30 MPs from the Patriotic Front being suspended.
But in the Zambian context, it is not new. We saw the current ruling
party
in opposition. They were victims of these suspensions.
And that was in 2017, right? There were 48 United UPND MPs, and then when they were in opposition, were also chased out of parliament. This is history repeating itself, so I must say.
Yeah. So people are saying that the speaker was in order, and the suspension was actually lenient. They would have been taken to prison.
But other stakeholders were saying, no, you know what, when you look at, again, representation from these MPs in their constituency, you'll find that for the next 30 days, there won't be anyone from their respective constituency representing them in parliament. So, yeah, those are the arguments.
But again, those are the consequences of probably abrogating parliamentary rules.
Anyway, our law.
Exactly. Before we wind up on the Zooming Mimi, we can also have that. I just called you Mimi. But anyway, it can be a new name.
It's my so-called behind the scene. You know, you usually address me as Mimi. So anyway, it can be a new name I'll adopt on set. Anyway, there's another clip that would want to show where a thief. There were two.
Yes, the phone thieves. Phone thieves. If you have ever passed through City Market, you should know of that clique. If that's
Bembela Road.
Yeah. Just around near
Chibolia. The City Market, those where the traffic lights there.
Just straight there to the roundabout is just dangerous.
You know, Soko, one of my colleague was, our colleague was a victim. Yeah, his phone was grabbed as he was coming awake.
It was a sad encounter for Mr. Chishimba, you know, where these guys, while he was on his duty, just coming from somewhere there, he was a victim. And someone just took advantage of the situation, grabbed the phone while Mr. Chishimba was just trying to put the cameras and everything. By the time he realized his machine was
gone. And then when he tried to run after the guy, I was told, hey, my guy, go back. It's a no-go area. When you go there, they might do anything to you just on the phone. So it's better you lose the phone than losing your life. So yeah, those we always advocate that law enforcers can, you know, move quickly to that area so that, you know, there's peace and order. We have continued to receive several reports with regard to that. So right about now, we'll play that clip and just see what we're talking about.
Banned in this police vehicle are suspected phone snatchers who were allegedly caught in the act along Ben Bella Road in Lusaka Central Business District. This stretch of road is highly populated by traders selling along the road, as well as by other citizens who are going about their daily activities. It is also a place known for high vehicle congestion and a common spot for property snatchers due to this. Victims who have had their phones stolen have been lamenting that phone recovery by the police and mobile service providers has not been effective, despite providing necessary phone security information, stating that this is promoting the vice. Some phone snatchers were, however, unlucky on Wednesday afternoon, as they were apprehended by members of the public. The citizens explained that one of the suspects snatched a phone from a moving vehicle, taking advantage of the congestion, and passed it to the second suspect, who was supposed to disappear in the crowd, but were both apprehended before they could get away.
Baibaja kai phone benze baba pasira banzao bebe nokana but babagwira ndiye benze bakonkonsha moto ndiye benze bakonkonsha moto kuno majangi washita over because our phone mata awapela wale watela kushora then wapasira ngamba phone mpaka ya so my difference tufuna wa police wapake kwanza special load
kuno wakawala la batifuta mwanzini tikatantika so chape mkapwalala shibadonza vintu so kati boma ngati tandileko batitako patrol chatinga mbere bwino tivutika mwanji mumabetiti mablanketi wanyamula awo titanda ukaye sopa kuseni kuno takwira kwa bana batatu kuseni chapi akapita chabata mungana vimasaka balonga katundu awo titanda ukaye everyday so ngati mungatitandisire mwati tikakale bokondo tibativutisha bapolisi batiyanganireko talema nao talema everyday batibera isatibora kushanja bakawala na bebe bakorotenga.
This is not the first time such an incident has happened, as another victim recently escaped an act of attempted daylight robbery along the said road.
Nakumana kona accident we pamene nzopita mu Chigoria ma janki wanista attack balifoka so wamwai na shansha na kuzumuka mmozi na mchaka mboyo na wina mchaka kofi si wanakwanisa kutegera bintu batiwezo kuno dirasa manayo.
While the two suspected phone snatchers have been picked up by the police, citizens say only police patrols along the said road will end the problem of theft permanently. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Welcome back. You are still watching the Camnet Breakfast Thursday edition, Governance and Policy. We were just zooming in on one of the stories done by Zipporah Mshala, talking about the aspect of lawlessness there along the stretch of Benbela, where criminal activities continue to be the talk of the day. Even today, if you go there, you are likely to become a victim of you having lost your phone or losing your phone.
Yeah.
And talking about the same issue of losing phones, I want to cite something Zipporah pointed out in her report. Miriam, these criminals, when they steal phones, these phones can be traced, you understand. But the pace at which the police act on these matters is usually not overwhelming. They will just tell you to say, give us 200 kwacha so that we can for transport money, because we need to submit the forms.
So wait, Soko, are you even supposed to pay that 200 kwacha, or it's their duty to do that?
No, I don't think you have to pay, but you know, they undermine some of the issues, and at the end of the day, they also have a problem with transport. So for you to prioritize your issue, Miriam, where they just need to go and get your phone, it's not something they take serious. They say, we burn fuel to go and recover Miriam's phone. So you know what they do? They put the cost on you. Okay, let me go and get your phone. Okay, we'll pay for that money. Say, okay, go and get the forms in terms of the records of the phone at these mobile service providers. But the help, Miriam, again, you won't be able to get it instantly. It's either they will go or they won't even go, but they will start singing songs to you to say, we are tracking, or the report is not here. We haven't gotten a report from this mobile service providers. So at the end of the day, Miriam, you start losing the zeal to recover your phone, and you start even making plans of buying another one. And before that, in an event it is found, you need it has been traced. The records are there from if a report has been provided by the mobile service provider. You'd need to go there. They need to go there and recover your phone. You need to provide money for fuel. Another 200 kwacha goes there. But if you are not lucky, you continue donating money to the police officers that is not receipted, and you continue donating the money until your phone will never be seen again. But again, that is promoting this culture of phone theft.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
These people know that the police do not recover these items. Or if they recover, it is in isolated incidences where a police officer has just taken it upon themselves to help you out, to say they help you track your phone. But more for you to find the right officer who's going to help you out. I'm speaking on the perspective of a victim point of view. And Mr. Chishimba, we were talking about our colleague. He is a victim of that, where he has to lose the phone just like that. So when you talk about these issues, they escalate to that level. people lose a lot of important documents in their phones.
In their phones, yeah.
And we need to be thinking about technology that is going to help us bridge this gap in terms of ensuring that when someone steals a phone, that's a smartphone, it shouldn't be used by another person.
Yeah.
How can we develop those initiatives? We're going to also make sure that next time around, Miriam, we bring an expert on IT so that they can explain to us some of the innovations that can be improvised to ensure that, for example, if you buy a phone, Miriam, for me, I like to think ahead. If you buy a phone, you should be able to have for instance, you don't need to have a physical SIM card. We can have a SIM card where your phone is cloned to your SIM card.
Yeah.
It cannot be used by any other SIM card. So that would discourage people from stealing phones. But again, there is this other problem that has come. Why the phone business is big. I've done an extensive research on it as well. The phone business is big because the people are repairing phones now. So they can get your phone, Miriam, not for the using, but to dismantle it
and then sell certain parts. Oh God!
So those are that is the problem that is there.
And you know, it's high time then when someone reports such a case to the police, we need to see the police, you know, getting on their feet, going and, you know, find the root cause and just address this situation. And like making someone pay money.
They take their time.
They take their time without even, you know, giving them receipts. What?
I think the way culture is just poor.
It's just poor, and that area, I must say, it's a no-go area.
Yeah, you just have to be careful and make sure that whenever you are patrolling that area, you are extra careful. Miriam, we are coming towards the dying minutes.
Yes, Patrick Soko, we are coming to the end of our program this morning. We were remembering our 4th Republican President, Mr. RUPIAH BANDA, and this morning there's a state funeral currently taking place at the showgrounds, where various foreign dignitaries, local dignitaries, and government officials, including the president himself, are attending at the showgrounds for our late Republican President, Mr. RUPIAH BANDA, as we celebrate his life. And Soko, just your last word.
Well, we've come to that time when we have to excuse the screens and give way to other important programs equally that will be coming on Camnet TV. Be sure to keep it on Camnet TV because Camnet TV is not just another channel. From me, Patrick Soko, and my colleague Miriam Kayemba, we say bye-bye and see you next time.
Yeah.